And so I could hardly sit through this because it brings back all the memories. Grade school years. I'll tell you about some of the funny things I think kind of comical. We always rode a yellow school bus. We were up Palmdale, and we were in the second track in Palmdale. And so we had to take the bus 4 miles into school in Palmdale. And once, when she was probably in the 4th or 5th grade, she clobbered a classmate riding on the bus with her purse. It had 3 steel ball bearings inside. Put him right on the ground. She always, because he was sitting in her seat. No one ever sat in that seat but Mary after that. And I knew right then that don't mess with Mary. Because she was tough as nails and usually quicker and faster than anyone else. At Sage High School, junior high, I would say, we used to walk a mile to and from. My folks used to say we used to walk 5 miles through the snow to go to the little one house. And we saw the school and we believed them. But we only used to walk a mile, and so I got to know them a lot talking on the way. My sister Sharon, of course, was a year older than me, almost 10 months. And we'd all walk together, so that was good. Once she played high school, and Mary played high school basketball. She was always the biggest, tallest person. In one game I remember watching, and she was in 7th grade, and I was in 8th, and she scored 40 plus points.
Wow.
More than the entire team on the other side. That's when I realized she had a future. Of course, female basketball hadn't matriculated to what it is now. But she was always the most athletic in the class, period. And I played 5 sports in high school. And I couldn't match Mary. Palmdale high school years, she was popular with classmates, very friendly, extremely popular. She didn't like the class offs or anything like that. That didn't bother her. She wasn't political. She just wanted to have fun and talk to people. She had a lot of pretty girlfriends around her all the time. I didn't mind. I was hoping some of them would show up here today. It's always fun to see what they're like 40, 50 years later. She also played varsity basketball, high school on the team for 4 years. She was a varsity cheerleader for the last 2 years of that high school. And once, this is really odd, once at a football game, of course the cheerleaders were always down in front of the stands. She actually outran, running backwards along the sidelines, a star halfback that caught a pass and was running for a touchdown. And Mary was running along, come on, go faster, faster. And the crowd roared. And the guy was trying to walk up and were cheering for him. He never had the heart to tell him all these years. Now he's living up in Davis, Colorado, or is that Davis, California, he's a psychiatrist. And I attempted to call him and say, I hate to say this, it sounds pretty common, but he finally faster than Mary, my sister. But he actually went to Annapolis and played varsity football, his first year, which is unheard of, and started as a wide receiver. So Mary was something else, and that's something that I remember from high school with her. Let's take the page. We got 2 pages. We got more. Meeting another memory I have is her meeting Larry Lee. I think we were both the same word. As a bouncer at Mother's, downtown LA or out at the Culver City area, which that time was the hottest dance club in all of Los Angeles. Larry was 6'5", a bouncer at the door, ex-US Army volleyball player, who carded her. And one thing led to another, and she got asked out for her first date. On their first date, Mary says, they doubled with Larry's buddy, who was 6'7", who was bringing his girlfriend along, who was 6 feet tall. And of course, Larry was 6'5", probably always thought was taller. And so it was the first time she ever went on a date where she was the shortest person. And she said at that point, she knew he was so long. I was at their wedding, and I could see that as soon as they got married, how close they were. She traveled with not a lot in her lifetime, but Larry was around, I don't know, around the world, I think 30, 35 times, he said. All the way around shooting for big time photographers. She traveled to some she talks about. I know she went to Norway and she looked up where her grandmother was born, outside of Oslo. And Japan, she mentioned she loved Japan. I've never been to that country, it was just last trip. But she also traveled, I see some pictures here to other countries. But she wasn't a big traveler, she was a homebody. As soon as Lori was born, she was much more comfortable living here and staying here and let Larry do the travel. And it worked out real well that way. And they talked about pictures that they put together. I would not want to try to pull out pictures from Larry's collection. You ever go to his attic upstairs?
Yes.
A lot taller than any of his kids. And just all over back. So anyway, they did a great job, so I'm happy they did that. But their first home was in Valencia here, as you know, and the last one, the one she died in, very lucky to die home. And I never forget it, because it was the first new house in almost all our family kids. And my mother was just frantic that they would never be able to afford to pay for the house, and they would lose it. $42,000. My mom was very, very, not often wrong about something, but she's wrong about that. It turned out to be a wonderful place. They lived here and made some incredible friends. We heard about it. I recognize the names, but I don't recognize the faces. I'm sorry, because I never got to play poker with you. Still hold her against it. That may be the only thing I hold against her. Now, another background experience I had with her was when I was going to school back in Connecticut. I went to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. There, well, actually, my parents had never left California. Never traveled other than going back to North Dakota. They came back to my graduation, Mary came along. And part of the June week, a celebration in military schools, we have a lot of functions, a lot of marching. We have a big ring dance where everyone invites their girlfriend. And frankly, half the class gets married after they graduate, less than a week later. And so most of the girls are getting rings when they walk through a big ring, it's a big part of makeup. And Mary came along and I hooked her up with a younger cadet, really good-looking, tall football player, who later, after he left the Coast Guard service, became a medical doctor. But Mary wasn't really concerned with him, didn't connect, but she connected with the girl I was with. They became absolutely the best friends for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And when they were on the East Coast visiting, they'd stop by and see Mary Jane Kissing, and find out about them. So it's amazing what a good experience I had when Mary was out there. And we got to go to New York City after that. Mom and Dad had never been in New York City. We got to Monmouth Center. They went to see the Rockettes at Pitt, up on the 4th level in their big theater, opera theater, wherever it was. And Mom and Dad were just absolutely petrified, scared to be up that high. I brought them right up to the front row so we could see everything. Mom and Dad and Mary's on this side, holding Mom's hand, and I'm on this side, holding Dad's hand, or the other way around, so they wouldn't have a heart attack. I don't think they saw any of the girls pick up. Mary was very helpful to me then, and a wonderful person to travel with. She also, when I got out of the service, I had to put 4 years in, I put it longer. And when I came back to California, I had to retrain myself completely. And so as I went through 3 years of law school, Mary was my typist. And wonderful she was. She typed so many of my legal papers and never charged me a nickel. And I paid her back by one summer. I had to go after I graduated, or almost graduated. I had some work up in with the Coast Guard Reserve up in Northern California, Alameda, and I had to have my furniture stored. They said, no, we can take it in our apartment. And so I gave her a beautiful couch I had, a new couch actually, a pull-out bed, and all kinds of other furniture, and they took care of it during the summer. And when I came back, I had a big stain on one of the arms of the couch. I said, oh my God, that was Larry when we left this. I remember I spent a night and he was complaining about he was losing his hair, he thought. And he was greasing it down so that it wouldn't be so bad. And he laid there the whole summer Well, unfortunately, he never lost any hair. I have to blame that on him too. We had some very nice trips to North Dakota. Mary came along each time. I have one experience in Fargo, North Dakota, which was the big town in North Dakota, 40,000 people. And we went in to visit Uncle Dennis, who lives in town and also works out at the farm part-time. And Mary said, I've been there before, I know how to get there. So I drove, and Mary was my navigator. And this was dark at night, and I was coming in maybe 3 or 4 hours after the light had gone. And so she said, okay, go out of this street and that street, and I followed her and said, here's checking the numbers. So here's the number, here's the house. And so we pulled up her, and we had all our luggage in the back. And she said, Bob, would you carry it up? So I picked up all the luggage, and I ordered it up to the, of course, all these houses, like big stairs going up to the front porch, was screened in. And so I brought her in the screen door, we got to the front door, she opened the door, we walked inside, and I'm carrying everything, and she looked around and said, this isn't Dennis's house. The door was unlocked. And so we backed out, carried it, put it back in the car, and she said, let's go try that street. We went to that street. She said, pull the number out, never been working 80 something. This is it. This is the house, I recognize it. Same thing, I carried everything up, opened up the screen door, opened up the front door, and someone said, hey, who are you? And Mary said, oh, we got the wrong house again. Well, the third block over, all the houses are numbered, each block is the same. Remember that? So we finally found 1480 in the right street, and there was Dennis, with a big smile on me. Mary wasn't helping me. I was reporting. But I remember the next morning with Uncle Dennis, who just laughed his head off when he found what happened, took us out to breakfast. Everybody in that cafe knew about us and what we had done. They didn't need an internet back then. It was a little town, everyone knew each other. Dennis still laughed at me, and we were good, of course. Mary and I had a good time laughing about it ourselves because it was kind of funny. But we finally found out. And that was Mary. I mean, Mary was good at those kinds of circumstances. Christmas and Thanksgivings at Valencia, unparalleled. They were always available for us. They always opened up their door to us. Always felt comfortable coming here. Never had a problem. And Larry, I'm thinking of Larry every time when I see these, especially when they went into a lot of the pictures he had for his celebrations. I'll never forget Larry in his trench coat. Did you ever see that one? He was hanging underneath, not really, he had a short sign, and he would open that up, flash you, and the flash blew your eyes out. Did you see that? Funny enough. That's Mary, too. Mary's always doing something funny. My wife, Chris, brought out a couple books. She gave us some jokes that we have by side on one of our toilets, so we want to have a laugh and read these jokes. Is that Mary? But Christmases, and in fact, Mary once gave me a little list of all the times she had us over the family on Christmas and Thanksgiving. And really outweighed what anyone else did in the family for that kind of function. I think we came in second, but other than that, no one beat Mary and Mary for hospitality. And that's my next topic. We took a Hawaiian vacation. Everyone wants to take a Hawaiian vacation sometime in their life. Mary and her family. I actually was stationed in Honolulu for a couple of years at the end of my Coast Guard tour, so I knew some people there that had been married and had rented an old house down at the beach in Kailua, which is where President Obama would go to vacation when he went back to the state. And so I knew it was a nice area. It had great beach, great water, great sand. And so I said, let's co-rent that. So Mary and Larry put in half, and we put in half. We stayed there for 2 weeks. It was a big old house with 6 bedrooms and a green shag carpet. Now, I'm convinced if we ever dropped any pizza down in that carpet, we would never find it. An old house. Had geckos in all the showers. You know what they are? The little lizards. Scared the heck out of the ladies. But I was used to it because I lived there. I lived there, and they're just part of the fauna and whatever. It also had a freshwater pool, so every day we'd go out on the beach and then come back and jump in the pool. And the kids can remember that. That was a great way to get the salt off and get ready for the night festivities. But in that whole 2-week period there, we only went out of the area once to go to Waikiki for a luau. But I'll never forget one day we came back from the beach, and the kids had found a little stream coming out maybe half a mile up the beach, and they found a bunch of little crabs in there, so they all collected crabs. And they wanted Mama to cook them when they got back. And the interesting part about it is Mary and my wife Chris both hid their purses in the oven, in the kitchen, for security reasons. And who would think of looking there? And when Mary came back, she pulled her purse out, and she forgot the purse was still in there. And she turned around the oven and put the crabs, and she cooked the purse. Big, well, not all the credit cards, thank God. She said, she didn't get my cards. But that's Mary. But that's something I would usually be accused of, because I have a reputation in the family of doing, crazy, nutty things like that without thinking.
These crabs aren't even good.
All right, I'll go there again. Then we also took a trip to Ireland. We, meaning my mom had died in 1994, and Dad was by himself from Palmdale, living in the same house there for 14 years after that, actually. And Dad always had wanted to go to Ireland. His mother was born in Ireland, and his name was Patrick because he was born on St. Patrick's Day. Terence Patrick was that. His father was Canadian. And literally, finally I got tired of hearing Dad say, I want to go to Ireland. So I said, damn it, we can afford this, go. And we made plans to go there on St. Patrick's Day weekend, or week. And it was actually very good weather when we were there. Mary came along, and Richie came, and my son Rob, over there somewhere. Okay, and we went for 2 weeks, and we started in Dublin, and we traveled around the island. I was the only one that had a driver's license, can you believe it, brought along. And they drive on the other side of the road, and so we could get a stick shift only, and I got to drive a stick shift by the mechanic. Very interesting for the first half hour. After that, I got used to it. And when they didn't get any crap, any of the people with me, want to go here, want to go there, I put them in the passenger street, which was on this side of the front. And we drive down with real late trucks coming the other way, boom! They'd shut up real fast so they could get in the back seat. Mary never worried about it. She always wanted to sit up front. She was not afraid of anything. She was fearless. And we had a really good time there. We visited a castle. We had a big banquet at night where we all drank mead. That's the old things they used to drink back in medieval days. And really got smashed. But for some reason, that thing just disappeared from your system after all. About midnight, all the mead was gone. We were just going slow. It was fantastic. But Mary had a good time. I've never seen her so happy. I spent a lot of time talking to her on that trip. She was having some, financial problems as much as female problems. And she just needed someone to listen. I remember sitting in front of the Dublin Hotel lobby where we stayed for 3 days to start the trip. And just listen. I'm not a good listener. I like to talk. And I listened for 2 hours. For 2 hours. I thought, wow. It was therapeutic for me because she then just sort of loosened up and had a great time. I'm still regretful that we didn't bring her up to Northern Ireland. She wanted to go to Northern Ireland. I said, look, we don't have a month, we only have 2 weeks. But I later visited. It's a wonderful area to visit in Northern Ireland. Get it all. Don't just go for the rest of it. But that was a good trip. And I remember Mary because she was just so relaxed at the end of that trip. And her dad got over his dementia or his jet lag or whatever, and was a real good participant as we went in that last half. And Mary was wonderful because she slept in the same room with Dad. She volunteered to do that. That's her. That was her baby for the trip. And the guys, myself and Rob and Rich, got to sleep, all three in other rooms. I think we split up when we got to Galway. But we visited most of that island, and Mary was a peach. She actually went up and kissed the Blarney Stone. When we got to Blarney, I'd done that before at the end of that ship sail over there in the Coast Guard. But I figured we better do it while we were there. Even though I think we were all born to a lot of Blarney, and we didn't really need it. But because we do have Irish, although I'm proud to say my wife is also Irish. We did her DNA, our family DNA 3 or 4 years ago. But unbeknownst to me, I'm married an Irish. 1% were Irish in her.
You're not Mexican.
She's from Mexico, and I was San El Paso. Irish get around, they get around everywhere. I always blame Irish for some of the stubborn streak that I have, and I think that she was married just a little more than me. Mary and Larry, bless their hearts, took care of Dad during his period of Alzheimer's. 14 years long, but he got so that he got in a car crash actually, and was hit by a big truck. And so we had a little money out of the settlement with the owners of the truck to be able to let Dad have caregivers. Mary was a caregiver for Dad 4 days a week for almost 7 years. And that sounds like a sweet deal because you do get paid, but boy, I can't imagine it. Dad just loved it. He got home cooked meals just like when Mom was alive. He actually lived, I swear, 4 or 5 years longer because they took such good care of him, made sure he got all his vitamins, etc. And he spent half 3 days a week at his home in Palmdale with a professional caregiver in town. But I was always very pleased that Mary and Larry were the ones that got to take care of things. Couldn't imagine anything better. I don't know if you ever let him into your poker games. He was pretty sharp. He might get some Alzheimer's. Okay? Anyway, that was a good memory. And I know probably the beneficiary of that more than anyone else was Riley, who got a chance to really know Grandpa. And up close and personal. And I think we all remember him great.
Great-grandpa.
Yeah.
My father was his great-grandpa.
Great-grandpa. Great-grandpa.
Great-grandpa.
Well, and
Yes,
Alzheimer's is
yes.
hereditary.
Hereditary.
My wife has an opinion on that.
Yeah.
But we talk about that. My mother said I would lose my head if I wasn't my eye. My wife was right if I talked to her. So it's just maybe I've had terminal Alzheimer's. Pardon? Okay.
No, I'm sure that they cannot hear you, that you're mumbling.
Oh. I don't have a mask. Okay, Mary died, but for 12 years, she was the sole provider of almost all the income for Ray and Riley. I'm so proud of her. She stubbornly persevered to find an attorney that could handle her case against Kaiser Permanente because of the negligence of the doctor who took care of, really didn't take care of Larry when he was in the hospital. She would not give up. It took her pretty close to a year to find someone. Even though we were giving her name, Steve, my brother was giving her name to both attorneys, she went out and found her own person. I don't know how much money she got, but you know what? That with almost 10 years of working as a assistant in a special ed class in a high school. Okay? All right.
Keep on going. I mean, you've been over
I
25 minutes.
Keep going, keep going. I've got the learning in me. And this is the last point, darling. Please heard all of them. But that and the money she made with retirement really gave an inheritance to her kids. And so when she's gone, she's not gone. She's left something here for you guys. And that's wonderful. With the shadow of the past. I know that Mary was a special person. As I was growing up, she was my best buddy for years and years until we got to school. We'll all miss Mary, and I think she'll live in our hearts with the good memories that we have of her. And I can see from what I've seen here today, and the number of people that show up, most of your neighbors, that she probably didn't know very many thoughts. Anyway, thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to say something? Whether you come up in front or.
I'll say something. So I'm Kathy Harrison. Thank you to all the neighbors. Thank you for our hostesses. And thank you to Mark and his family, Matt and Tanya, Lori and Riley, the kids that have been taking care of Mary. And that's all.
In that case, I think we're gonna play, do you wanna say what the song means?
Yeah, so I'm Richard, the youngest of Mary's siblings. I used to be called Little Richie. I don't think they call me Little Richie anymore. But Mary loved this song, wanted to hear it, or wanted it to be played at her funeral. So sorry it's a small speaker, but I think it'll be loud enough for most of us.
The people that are listening from YouTube can't hear because the phone that's getting the mic is behind you and not in front of you, so they can't hear as well.
No.
So I'll get closer.
Well, they get to watch it anyway. It's loud enough.
So that was Ave Maria. I'm sure you all know the channel Pavarotti. And because this is Mary's funeral, but it's also in part Larry too, because like my brother Bob said, you can't really think of one without the other. And I just wanted to say something that Larry taught me when I was a big kid. Chime in as I go along. It was very much Larry's humor. One broad day, in the middle of the night, two dead boys got up to fight. Back to back, they faced each other, drew their swords, and shot each other. So, that's Larry's humor, which I also have that weird sense of humor, and Larry also shared in it. And many of my nieces and nephews do too, which cracks me up. So, thanks, everybody.
I just wanted to share, I met Mary probably 28 years ago. I was Mark's friend, we played college football together. And so I spent the night at Mark's house many times, and you know, one thing I always remember is every Tuesday, she would make chicken tacos for the whole team. And so we would have 10, 11 guys, 6'6", 6'7". You could put down, 15 chicken tacos back then. And so she probably spent hundreds of dollars every Tuesday supplying us with a wonderful meal, and we played video games and ping pong and go in the spa, and she was always so welcoming, and it felt like home to me. I'd be going away to college, come back, go to Mark's house, and she was just a very wonderful woman, and I just wanted to share with her.
That being said, thanks for coming out. Feel free to mingle. There's plenty of food. Please eat. Please take food. I think these pictures in the back, if you want one, please take one. Other than that, thanks for coming out.
Mark, Lori, and Matt, how about it?
Yeah, I wish we had a bigger screen and stuff, but it's all, like you said, it's online. Yeah. There's not many other videos that we've done. That's.